About 1 million tons of sediment is settling in the mouth of Lake Pepin annually. We have seen the islands grow on an almost annual basis. They can fingerprint the source of the sediment and find out that approximately 85% of the sediment is coming from the Minnesota River Basin. Tourism and just the natural beauty of the lake is what draws people to the area. All the towns and all the people around the lake is dependent on the lake. The concern right now is that Lake Pepin has a natural life of about 3,000 years, and at the rate we're going right now, that has been condensed down to 300 years.
Clean Up the River Environment, CURE heard about the Lake Pepin Legacy Alliance, that they wanted to clean up Lake Pepin, and we know that Lake Pepin is being polluted by runoff from the Minnesota River. And so we said, hey, we want to get in touch with these people to let them know about what we're doing to clean up the river. And then we met with Warren Formo of the Minnesota Ag Water Resources Coalition. And he said, you know, farmers want clean water, and we want to get more farmers involved in developing the standards to create clean water. And I said, you know, that's what we want too. Warren, would you be interested in being part of our Friendship Tour Exchange, where we bring people from the Minnesota River down to Red Wing and people from Red Wing up to the Minnesota River to develop the circle of trust is what we're looking for.
In this case, we're talking about the ag sector and some other folks who represent environmental interests. And the traditional model would be that those two groups would perhaps engage in dialogue, but it was about somebody winning and there were sides. And this new model that we're trying to develop is really more about coming together, and before we figure out what winning even is, we need to better understand one another so that in the end, hopefully, we both can win. Our initial meeting was held down at Lake Pepin, where we were able to bring folks from upstream down to Lake Pepin in the Red Wing area. And the folks from around Lake Pepin were gracious enough to host the farmer groups and get out and see the lake and hear firsthand from people who live around Lake Pepin, you know, what their concerns were for the resource that they're so passionate about.
We took them out to the river, showed them the exact mouth of the area. The reactions were varied, but I think they appreciated that we cared for our land as much as they cared for theirs.
The next leg of the project involved some of the folks from around Lake Pepin coming upstream and touring some farms and actually getting out and seeing what was happening on the landscape.
I had the pleasure of hosting a group of downstream people to our farm, and it was an opportunity to show them what it is that we do. And part of the benefit of that was being able to listen to their concerns firsthand, where we're on this farm seeing the same thing and find out what their thoughts really are.
Number one is to have people understand the complexity of farming. You've got different soil types and climates and different farming systems. I think the main message farmers as a group would like to get across is that virtually every farmer is doing the best they can to make their system match their environment.
We not only looked at what is a good business decision for today, but we also look at how this is going to affect the future generations.
They have convinced me they are good stewards of their land. I think the challenge is to extend that stewardship to a wider piece of property.
I think the government's waiting for a coalition like this. I think few things are as contentious as land use issues, and so our policymakers are waiting to hear from its citizens and hearing that these issues are important to us and we're willing to work together to find solutions.
If we're going to become better at managing resources and resource problems, we have to take a step backwards and realize that there's a human element and that we have to manage the relationships between the people better first.
We can't get the kind of results we need unless we really listen to each other. And that's what these friendship tours are all about.